Donoho and Megan Buell are my guests today from the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
I know we're talking about distracted driving among teens and what's being done about it, how you're tackling it. What is the mission, first of all, Vic, of your office?
The mission of the Highway Safety Office is to save lives through education and enforcement and awareness and voluntary compliance with our youth and our drivers on Tennessee roadways.
And you know a lot about this. You shared with me that you were a highway patrol officer for many years.
Yes.
So you know of what you speak here.
Yes, I'm a former state trooper of 27 years, serving my last 7 years in the administrative division of the Highway Patrol, and this is a new job for me, but it's been very rewarding. I'm very honored to serve in this position.
Oh, I'm sure. What is considered distracted driving? You know, I think most people probably think, oh, it's texting. We're talking on your cell phone. And it certainly is, but that's not all.
No, that's not all. And I go back to a story that my grandfather told me when he was driving on a Highway 56 in the edge of Macon County, and he ran into his father in a curve. And my grandfather jumped out and said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm looking up at the trees." So that was distracted driving, and that happened back in the 50s. So
it's always been around.
It's always been around. However, I think it obviously is more prevalent now with the use of cell phones, and there's so many more opportunities, radios, navigation, for drivers to be distracted.
You know, you think of navigation and these helpful tools to get where you're going, but using them can be so distracting. You need to set those things before you take off, right? Set your plan before you go. How big of a problem is it in Tennessee? Are we any worse than other states, or how bad is it?
Well, I think it is definitely growing. In 2016, there were approximately 22,000 crashes involving distracted driving.
Wow.
In 2016, that rose to about 25,000. With teens in 2016, it was around 3,000. Around 2,200, and rose to 2,500. So it's on the rise, and I think that's due to a couple of things. One is law enforcement is recognizing distracted driving, and two, drivers are understanding that they were distracted in some way, so they're self-reporting when they have a crash.
What are the biggest distractions for our Tennessee teenagers?
Well, obviously, without data, I would say our biggest distraction are cell phones. It's very difficult for teens to put their cell phone down until they get to their destination. And it only takes, it takes about an average of 5 seconds to look at a message, read a message, or send a message. And if you're traveling 55 miles an hour, you'll travel 80 feet before in that 5 seconds. Of course, as your speed goes up, the farther you travel in that same time frame.
Wow, that really puts it in perspective. In 5 seconds, at 55 miles per hour, enough time, I'm reading here, I didn't know this, to cover the length of a football field. Wow.
Yes.
All right. That's hard to believe. Okay, why are teens more inclined, Megan, to be distracted while driving? Is it just the immaturity? What is it?
Well, and you bring up a good point. I mean, it is immaturity. It's lack of life lessons. It's lack of driver's education. You know, when you're speaking about cell phones, here in Tennessee, we have the graduated driver's licensing law. And so from 15 to 18 years of age, you are not allowed as a teen to have a cell phone in use while you are driving a vehicle. So it's against the law, okay, to have your phone in use, in hand, when you're driving on our Tennessee roadways. And that's a way, of course, to keep our teens safe. And so when you're looking at just the overall, what can we do to help our teens, you've got to educate your children. Parents are the big coach here when it comes to making sure your teenagers are equipped when they go out there on our Tennessee roadways to drive a pretty big, large piece of machinery. You know, it's good to want to make sure that your child feels comfortable and confident when they get behind that wheel and they're driving here in Tennessee to get to their destination safely. So, you know, as a community, as parents, we all have an obligation to really make sure that our teens are safe. And one way to do that is by making sure they're educated when they get behind that wheel.
So what kind of programs does your department offer teens or parents of teens, I assume both, to help them?
Sure. You know, the great thing about Tennessee, it is such a prevention state. There are so many great resources around the state. Students Against Destructive Decisions, your Tennessee Teen Safe Driving Coalition, ReduceTeenCrashes.com. So these are resources available for parents and teens to look into the safe driving habits and, of course, behaviors. You know, at the Department of Safety and Homeland Security, as part of the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, that is one of our priorities. You know, obviously, we want people, including teens, to make good choices when they're traveling on our Tennessee roadways. And that's part of what we do through enforcement, through behavior, education, awareness on behaviors, making good choices on our roadways when you get behind that vehicle. But again, parents are the #1 coach when it comes to their teens.
What do you tell them? This is for either one of you. I mean, put the phone in your glove compartment, put the phone where you can't see it or hear it, put it on airplane mode. What are some specifics that you tell them?
I think all the above.
All the above?
All the
Absolutely.
above. Just if you can keep it out of sight and out of mind, they're less likely, if it does vibrate or if they receive a message, to grab that phone and look at it.
And as a parent, it's good to talk to your teen and say, look, you know, this is the law. Keep your cell phone down. When you pull over, if you need to call me, then pull over. Go to a parking lot. Call me. Text me. You know, the #1 text that comes in to teens while they're driving is from their parents.
Really?
Okay? So, and there you go. And so when you're talking about behaviors, teens are still looking at their parents as that #1 influencer in their lives. So it's really important that parents take that initiative and remember your child is watching you and will emulate your behaviors.
Set an example.
That's right.
Yes. All right. Vic and Megan, thank you very much. Congratulations on this new position for you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back.